I have a big issue, and I need Amanda. Amanda has coached young women before, and I'm a dad, and I have an 8-year-old daughter. And it's weird because, I have a nice life, and my kids get access to stuff that most kids wouldn't, and I understand that. And but I don't want to spoil my kids, because when you grow up and you get to be 40 and you've seen rich people's kids and what losers they can be and unambitious, I never want my kids to be that. I'm a big believer in life that attitude and ambition and drive really separate the haves from the have-nots, and I want my kids to have drive. So one of the things, I read a book one time, and it said, don't over-compliment your kids. Compliment them, make them feel good about themselves, but don't give them massive compliments for mediocrity. So my daughter is a really good soccer player. Well, no, let me say it again. My daughter has a lot of talent. She scored both the goals for her team last week. She's big and powerful and can really kick, but she has very little ambition. She dogs it. And I find myself as a dad, she came up to me after the game, "Dad, I'm pretty good, huh?" I said, "No, you're good." "Oh, what do you mean I'm not?" I said, You're good. You can be a lot better." And it bothered her all week long. Every time I talk to her. My daughter is essentially the Manny Ramirez of her 8-year-old soccer league. She stands and looks a lot as she drops one off the wall. She's Mandy instead of Manny, and she ends up at second instead of third. So all week I've been telling her, you're good, you're not great, and I don't think you'll ever be great unless you change your attitude. So Amanda coaches Southington girls sports, and it's interesting because I didn't really ask her opinion on this. I just started talking about it, and she says, "Oh, I have some opinions on this." So it's a fine line as a dad. I want my daughter to have self-esteem because she's going to be tall. And, tall girls sometimes suffer from self-esteem. So I want my daughter to have self-esteem. But I don't want her to think she's better than she is, because I'm a big believer in, Oscar De La Hoya's dad never gave him a compliment. Now, that's not the way to do it. But you know what? Kids are always trying to impress their parents. And if you're overly impressed, why work? So, Amanda, here is Amanda's thoughts. Do we have any Leave It to Beaver music on this? Because Leave It to Beaver is the wholesome American goodness show of how to raise children. Wally and the Beav never dealt meth and turned out to be wonderful human beings. Jerry Mathers is still like 14, I think. Amanda, your thoughts on my parenting skills?
Well, mind you, I have no kids of my own. But I will say, after coaching for 2 seasons now.
2 seasons now of coaching girls.
I am an expert.
Okay.
No.
You're tough. You're tough on kids.
I'm tough on kids, and I think you have the right approach, because a lot of kids come to their team and their parents tell them, "Oh, you're great, you're great, you're great." So they don't want to work hard. Why would you want to work hard if your parents tell you you're great? Even if your coach says you need to improve, well, I don't care. My parents think I'm great.
So you see a lot of girls who are soft.
Absolutely.
And Connecticut's a number 1 or 2 in the country in income. It's a pretty fluffy suburb state. There's not a lot of gritty kids in Connecticut. I mean, I think this state's a little, it's affluent. There's a lot of money here. Kids grow up in big homes in suburbs in Connecticut. It's easy to get soft. I mean, my kids go to Martha's Vineyard. You're just creating a soft kid.
Yeah, I don't think you should take the route of never giving a compliment. I think you tell her, that was good hustle. You did a good job there. Maybe you could have done this differently, and kind of model the way that she could be better.
All right. So you're okay with what I'm doing?
Absolutely.
But
you don't want to tell her she's great. You don't want to tell her she's horrible. You want to have some
Listen, I have this theory on parenting. If they're horrible, tell them they're better than they are. If they're great, tell them they're not as great as they think. Mm-hmm. I'm like a boss, and she's the salesperson, and I don't want them to get too high on their horse or lose their self-esteem. So right now, she's scoring all the goals, and I don't want to make her feel good. So today, she didn't have a practice. She has a game tomorrow. Today, I'm really going out, and I'm going to do a Les Steckel. I'm going to do a Full Metal Jacket. I am going to be very difficult, very tough, and I got to tell you, I love it. By the way, Amanda will